All right. It's morning. It's Wednesday. It's my sworn duty to put out a podcast every other week or thereabouts. I take my duty as seriously as most of our elected officials, which is kind of just haphazard. And, well, whatever. Fuck you. I'll do it when I get around to it. I'm curious. Let me ask you a question. You can comment your answer or email me, mark@prepperguy.com, or, whatever. I mean, America's shot and gone to hell. So I don't see a purpose for worrying about any of this shit. Oh, I have a door open or something. So much shit on my passenger side that thinks there's someone sitting down. How funny is that? Okay, so here's the question. We're Americans, and we have elections. And it's a serious question. It's not anecdotal, or I'm not trying to be a smartass, but why the fuck do we have elections? I mean, especially with the last, 20, 30 years. I mean, if we really wanted to be finite about it, we could go back to, the 12th Amendment and, to 200 years. We could go back all 45 presidents and go, why are we having elections? And the reason was always to elect representatives to represent us in the states to the federal government. That's it. That's fucking it. A lot of people think that we have elections so we can elect senators and presidents. Well, the senators came about, 17th Amendment, where, FDR, being the communist bitch that he was, decided that it's like, well, I want to pick my vice president and this and that. And, he just kind of went off the rails, typical fucknut. And, and the Republican Party, never questioned any of this, because they're losers. I mean, fuck. So I want to kind of drill down on this. Why do we have elections? And then kind of get to the point, and then I'll probably be at work by then. So I'm gonna flip this camera around so I can rant and rave, because you've seen the drive to work. You've seen me too. So I guess it's 6 or 1 dozen. I could point it out the back window. So I'll be right back. So the 17th Amendment was added because we decided that we needed to vote for senators every 6 years. And I've talked about this, so I'm not going to go over it. I mean, just do some fucking homework. Jesus Christ. So it became more and more important to do more and more, elections. It was, as an American, what we did, and I've talked about this, and I'll do it for you again. We used to go, it's election every 2 years, and we voted for a representative that was in your district, and that was that. There was no gerrymandering, and I've heard on the news for the last fucking 2 months now that it's like, well, of course, this county and this county are heavily, cities, large cities and populated areas, so the demographics are quite different than the rural areas. It's like, yeah, no shit, Sherlock. Actually, the Founding Fathers had that figured out, and that's why congressional districts were small. So many thousand people. But no, they had to go and, fuck that up, because that's what we do in America. See, we had something really sweet, and we broke it because we really are no smarter than the fucking monkeys we pretend not to be. So they admitted in the news today that, cities and populated areas are going to have different demographics than rural areas, like duh. And yet, they gerrymander these districts. So like my district in my area is, quite rural, as you've seen some of my videos, Wilcox and Sierra Vista, and, they're They're not huge, 14 million, population centers, But part of the lines go way over there into Tucson, Maricopa County, or not Maricopa, Pinal County and Santa Cruz County. And we get a big swath of liberal fucktards in that Tucson area. And then there's one other area that's, So, see, in the wisdom of the Republicans and the Democrats, both moron parties, they decided, well, we need a mix. No, we didn't need a mix. My representative should represent my small district of farmers, of ranchers, of loggers, whatever it may be, miners. And that way they take their opinions of that group of people to the Capitol and come up with a plan. And then they all get together and then they vote. Well, then the metropolis areas, or, the big metropolitan areas, would only have a couple votes. And most of the rural areas would have more votes. So 99% of the time, you wouldn't get this libtard shit going on like happened last night in fucking Georgia, the home of the dumbest motherfuckers on the planet. Today, anyway. I'm sure there's dumber fuckers on the planet that we'll see in coming years. But anyway, for today, they're the dumbest motherfuckers around. So that's what happens. See, gerrymandering and the 16th Amendment or the 17th Amendment and the 12th Amendment and all this stuff, they had to try to fix it. Like I was talking about, we broke it. We had something really great that was kind of unbreakable. It was like perpetual motion. And we just had to try to get under the hood because that's human nature and sort of see how it works. And so we could maybe replicate it and then fuck with it. And then to where if it did break, which it wouldn't have, we can fix it, which we can't. So therefore, we fucked it all up. Welcome to America 2.0 or whatever version this is. So why do we have elections? Well, that was the original reason. To elect your representative, that was it. The representative appointed senators to go make laws and be part of that, that congressional body and actually, go to Washington and tell the other states, nah, Arizona says go fucking pound sand. We're not going to do that. And whatever. So it's just a smaller group of people reflecting a larger group, in the state, which was all the representatives, representing even bigger groups of all the people. So then that way you only had so many people, maybe 100 today at 50 states, 2 senators each state would be appointed. So now all you had to deal with was 100 people that didn't kind of agree in the same room and could work it out or walk away, go fuck you. And then there was the federal government. That was how it was set up. We definitely broke that shit all to pieces. So that was the main reason. We 100 years ago had elections. Now we have elections because of advertising dollars. The more elections we can have, the more debates we can have, the more questions and uncertainty we can have, then the more money news outlets make, by people watching with ratings. And then therefore, because their ratings are so fucking awesomely high, they can charge more for advertising. So Coke and Pepsi and Mercedes has to pay out the ass to have a commercial on your show. That's all it's about. They don't give a fuck about you, your American values. They hate apple pie. And you can go pound sand and fucking play baseball in your little sandlot. Go fuck off. That is big media's opinion. And then the politicians are in on it too now. And so therefore, they're like, hey, there's a shit ton of money in this lobby thing, man. I got paid just to vote a different way on something I didn't even fucking care about. Well, you should have cared, but they didn't. So during this clusterfuck coming our way, starting 80, 90 years ago, the Democrats said, well, we want, to do the 17th Amendment, and we want to elect senators because FDR says it's a great idea, and we want to change this amendment so the president actually will pick his running mate instead of the Electoral College picking a vice president, which is constitutional. So, and then, and you would think that the Republican Party, being conservative, would want to conserve the old, values of the founding fathers. But no, they were right along with it going, oh, awesome idea. What's in it for me? See, you and I were not part of that equation. We weren't at the table. In fact, we weren't on the menu. We didn't even know where the fucking house was at to be close to the table to lick the floor like the dog. That's how far from their minds we were as Americans. So, this is where we are today. And the Republicans, lame, limp, dick, ass hats that they are, won't even stand and fight as a show of solidarity for their leader, the president, who's, Republican, so therefore he's the leader of the Republican Party, but they're also busy jumping ship that it's sickening. I'm surprised that Ted Cruz, a guy that I would not have voted for as president during, the last election, because he's of Canadian birth, I don't care what anyone says, has actually manned up and reached down between his legs and found his fucking nutsack and went, we need to fight this. There's a process where we can fight this. And maybe he's just making political points, I don't know. Because none of this, let me repeat myself, none of this shit should fucking matter. Because we wouldn't have voted. Our representatives would have picked electors based on the desires of their people they represent, and those electors would have went to Washington and voted. And back in the day, that was a long fucking way, so they would maybe actually get on a buggy and go to Washington and cast their vote. That's how important it was to them. And so the state would get together and they would have that vote in Congress, and then they would certify those votes, write it down, and put a wax seal on it like the fucking king in Game of Thrones with this little ring, and seal it, and they were certified, and then they went to Washington and they were counted by the vice president. And that was that. See, that was what certification meant. It wasn't like, oh, we certified that all these dead people actually were registered to vote. Well, fuck me running. Of course they were registered to vote at one time when they were alive. So, this is where we are today. Everything is a mess. Georgia proved that. Georgia proved that, 2 million plus people voted for Warnock. That if you just were, deaf, dumb, and blind, and maybe had a way to read what he was saying, from Braille or something, you'd go, "Oh, this guy's fucking nuts. This guy's a fucking baby-eating madman." But no, so this is where we've become. The electorate has become stupider than that shadow of the car in front of me. It just goes wherever it's told. And it depends on which way the sun is, which way the fucking shadow goes. That's how stupid we are. And I say we. And the Republican Party has done dick. Fucking absolutely dick. So I ask again, why do we have elections? I mean, really, what is the point? We've seen the fraud over the years. And just the blatant, just poke in the eye, go kiss my ass, American plebes, shut the fuck up. We let you vote, which is as nice as saying, we let you choose between getting a beer or a Pepsi or a Coke at a baseball game. Shut up and sit the fuck down. Thanks for showing up, buying a ticket. Now kiss my ass, my big royal ass. So if I got a little colorful there, that's how I feel. When you really look at what's going on, do you think that you are part of the equation at all? And if you do, you really are stupid. I mean, I'm not even going to sugarcoat it. If you think that they think about us, you're wrong. They don't. They don't care about you or I. They fucking don't. Forgot the camera was looking at me. I was just looking at the road, see, instead of like you guys. So why do we vote? I mean, what's the point? Dead people can vote. There's no signature verification. I mean, I could just, why don't I just write on a piece of paper like we had in first grade with the big lines and the little lines, so we knew how to write big capital letters and little cursive letters, and write, I, an American, in spirit only, vote for Biden, Trump. And then put a big fucking X on it, stick it in an envelope, and send it to fucking Santa Claus at the North Pole. I mean, right? Why not? That's where we're at. There's no what do they call it? Chain of command or chain of evidence on these boats that were supposed to be sequestered and set off to the side. Oh, they tucked that all up. I mean, in a court of law, if there's no body, there's no murder. I mean, you can't prove there was a murder if there's no fucking body. So if there's no chain of evidence on these ballots, then there's no vote. I mean, they can sit there and go, well, we had 200,000 of them that we didn't check the signatures or nothing. Then the court should just go, well, then, based on the percentages of the vote, knock off 200,000 votes. 51% at the time for Trump and 21% there. There, now, problem solved. Or you could just arrest the motherfuckers that didn't do what, Justice Scalia Alito said, and sequester them. That's a violation of a court order. Well, obviously no one gives a shit about that. Just the same as most criminals don't care because there is no prosecution. That's why they will rob you. And in New York, they know there'll be no prosecution and there'll be no bail. In fact, I think they'll get free cab fare and validated parking just for going to court to say, yeah, fuck you, I stabbed him. Am I out of here? And the judge is like, yeah, there's no bail and there's no trial. And you have a nice day, buddy. So why would the officials running the election give a shit about prosecution? Because no one cares. See, we should care. We, the people, should be burning fucking houses down. I don't care. People say, no, we shouldn't be violent. No one should go to someone's house. Well, back in the good old days, they actually went to the courthouse or wherever, grabbed the fucker out of wherever he was, and tarred and feathered him. That tar was hot. They died sometimes. They literally died. Is that what we need to get to? Because, see, they've thumbed their nose up at us so much over the past 80 years that being an American is a goddamn joke. It's that stupid. People say, oh, your state flag should be under the federal flag. No, go fuck yourself. I don't even want to see the federal flag anymore. It's my state flag. Actually, I should have my family flag because the federal government does not care. And you think they do. See, we've been raised to believe that they care, but they don't. So we salute the flag, and that's the symbol of, that's our logo. Fuck, I'm an American. There's my logo. Stars and stripes. Oh, glory. It's like paying homage to the golden arches. They don't care about you. Fuck. Don't we get it? We are pawns. We're not even pawns. We're scum. We're pawn scum to these people. And they've made it abundantly clear. So why have elections? In the middle of Georgia being a battleground state that's contested to the max, it's, where a major part of the fraud happened. Well, we need a runoff election. Let's do that in another 2 months. Okay. Are we going to fix the problem? Fuck no. Those people in Georgia don't care. Why would we fix the problem? There are plebes. They could shut the fuck up and vote. And if they don't, well, then we win anyway. And if they do, well, we win anyway. So, talk about stupid. Doing the same thing over and over again and expecting a different result is the definition of insanity. And American people that continue to vote and get all happy and go, oh, I'm going to watch the debate, are insane. So, whatever. And we all know this, see? I mean, I watch the news and I go, what makes me different than that fucker? And it's like, well, he brings up facts, see? It's like, well, in 1918, Bob sued John and the vice president did this. Oh, good. Who the fuck cares? 1918. Fuck them. What about today? So when people, go, I listen to this guy's show because he's really smart and he brings up things like Tucker Carlson. He makes really good points. And then he moves on to the next point. And then he has $50 million in commercials. And then he moves on to the next point. He don't care about you. He cares about his fucking ratings and making an entertaining show. I'm an asshole. I don't care about my fucking ratings. You all know that I am right. And anyone that's venting right now about the fucked up nature of our election is right. Because it's fucked up. And the whole point of things being fucked up and conspiracies is that you can't prove it. See, if Tucker Carlson could prove it, well, then he'd be a nut. Just like me. And his ratings would drop off the map because no one wants to hear that shit. And Alex Jones is a perfect example of that. He's right. 99% of the time, he's been right. He brought up uncomfortable things like Pizzagate, and they buried his ass. And his ratings are good. He's making a lot of money. He is not just sitting back, playing with his dick like Tucker Carlson, raking in cash and getting a paycheck. He fights for every dollar he gets, and he mortgaged his house to keep his show on the air. And with the flick of a switch, they could shut him off. He's a fucking nobody. And so, those are the people that you should be listening to, and we don't. As Americans, we just go, we're in the feedlot going down the fence, and it's like, hey, go that way, okay. Go this way, okay. Go that way, okay. And the only difference is we don't get slaughtered and fed to our consumers, the consumers. We just work and work and work and pay our taxes, and that's the meat from the slaughter of the American people is taxes. And then we die. So we die of natural causes instead of just a cattle prod to the fucking head or whatever, shock rod or whatever they use to kill him. But our tax dollars, our soul, our life is being whittled away $1 at a time, 1 minute at a time, however you bill for your life to show up at someone's house and to work when you're away from your family and doing things you don't want to do. That is the layman theory. That is you working and cutting away parts of your fucking existence for $1. And then you give part of it to the tax man. That's the meat. They trim the fat off and they let you keep some of it to buy a boat or whatever. And they take the rest. So we really are cattle in a cattle lot being told where to go. And we're happy. Well, good. If you're fucking happy. Be fucking happy. Don't worry. Be happy. You're going to die anyway. What the fuck? But the reality is, why vote then? Really, I mean, if that is the some part, or the total of our existence, is to pay taxes and shut the fuck up and keep the machine running and continue to walk through the feedlot day after day, why vote? What's the point? And then they're not going to count them right. They're too stupid to do simple fucking math. So they invent these machines that can count. Just so the American people at night can watch the election results and go, we got a new president. Who is it? That's candidate A. And we knew. See, we have all these machines that will tell you right now. But see, when it was the Electoral College, we knew right then. They showed up. Today, whatever today's fucking date is, I really don't give a shit. In Washington, the electors, and they handed over their sealed, certified vote from the representatives that they fucking represent, which is us. And the vice president cracked it open, counted the votes. The one with the most votes won. End the fucking story. They knew. They knew right then. Boom. Boom shakalaka. Now we all think that, well, there's a time lag from November 3rd to January 6th, so if there's any contention, we can fight it. No, that's not why, you dumb motherfucker. The reason there was a time lag is because the fucking electors had to get on a horse and go to Washington from California. It's a long fucking trip by horseback. So it took a month by train. But now you could have the electoral vote January 1. Boom, done and done. You seal it all up. The electors are sent off. They jump on a fucking plane, if you want to be old school, fly to Washington, hand it to the vice president. Go, Mr. Vice President, nice to meet you. Here's our sealed, certified electoral votes. Oh, I wonder what's in there, because I didn't watch the election on November 3rd, because it didn't fucking exist. So this is why we're fucked. And I ask, why the fuck do we even vote? Because we never did before. For president, that is. Let me clarify that for all you fucking wannabe journalists out there. Mark's wrong. Why did we vote? Because we didn't back in the day. We elected a representative that grew up in our district, which was usually pretty small, and we knew him, and he represented us. God, his dad was a great guy. He worked at the coal mine right there with my dad. He was at all my games. I like that dude. He's very noble. He's got integrity, and he does what he says, and he says what he's going to do. That's the man I want to be my representative. And he will go to Arizona Capitol, and he will represent me. He might get voted down by the other 200 districts in the state, but at least my vote counted there at that level. When he voted yes on this deal in the state or no on this deal in the state, that was my little voice, my squeaky little voice in a state of 20 million. At least I was heard through him. Didn't win every battle. But, most people had common sense back then, so it was pretty standard. It's like, well, we're going to have a vote tomorrow on should we slaughter everybody, and does the king of Arizona have the right to have sex with your wife on her wedding night before you sully her? Okay. Well, most people would vote no, fuck you, go to hell. But, nowadays that might just be a really good thing to bring before the House of Congress. They might just go along with it and pass it on to the Senate and fucking President Biden to sign it because he can't read. He's senile. So why do we vote? Why the fuck do we dick with our time? And I say that from a personal point of view because my wife is addicted to this shit. And I tell her, this doesn't matter. Whatever we think isn't going to matter. All the pundits talking on the news is all horse shit. We are not part of the equation. We're watching it like a football game, but we're not even live. We're not there in the stands where we can cheer a little louder and yell just a little more. We're watching it via satellite on another planet. And what we think that guy should have thrown the ball to what receiver is so fucking irrelevant that it can't be quantified how irrelevant that is. So why do we vote? I mean, when you really look at the big picture, we are nothing to them. We are no different than the shit I'm driving on right now called pavement. You are one of those little pieces of gravel encapsulated in fucking tar or however they make pavement. And that's you. I just ran you over. Ha ha. Ha. Fucking crazy shit. We're fucked, okay? So if we don't, I'm praying, if Trump loses, which I think he will, I think the fix is in, and he runs in 2024, I think immediately, the day after he ends up leaving office, he should start a MAGA party. Because the Republicans and the Democrats are shit. And the Green Party's fucked, and the Federalists and whatever, all these other parties out there are shit. Trump has half of America. 1% less, according to the fucking polls. But he almost won the election. There's only a couple 100,000 votes that separated him. He's got a lot of people that aren't just like upset like Hillary's fans and then turn around and vote for Bernie Sanders. Well, whatever. Trump has a MAGA movement, and that should become the next political party. And if you're like everyone I talk to, they go, you can't have three parties. Well, yeah, you can. See, if we were following the Constitution, we would have an Electoral College, and the one with the most votes. See, the Constitution doesn't say 51% of the votes. It says the most votes wins. So if the MAGA party in 2024 gets 180 electoral votes, and the Republicans get 75 and the Dems get 0 because they're fucking morons or whatever the math is, then Trump wins. So you could have 5 teams on the field, and then you take the electors and you divide it up, among the states, however it is, and the one that gets the most, not the percentage, not 51%, just the most, gets one more than the other guy is the president. So we could have 3, 4, and 5 parties out there. And Trump has the movement to do that. He won't do it. And the Republicans that are with him are not with him, so they're not going to do it. And the Democrats are just going to laugh because that cuts their legs off. And same with the Republicans. So someone just needs to do it and then have enough clout and people behind them, like these giant rallies and stuff, that says, no, we're gonna count electoral votes for, however it is, the one that has the most wins. You can continue to have your stupid ass popular vote, which is bullshit and unconstitutional, but at least then those same 270 electors that you need to win would be now less. You just need one more than that other motherfucker. And that's what I hope happens. It won't. America's dead. Now, when you look at my town and where I live, most of the time the federal government gets their way because they bribe people, city officials. They go, well, if you build this low-income housing, we'll pay for it, and we'll subsidize a little bit. And so they do it. See, they do the bidding of the federal government because of money. Federal welfare to the states and to the cities from the states. Well, now that Biden's in there and we're going to just turn socialist, you ever wonder why socialists and communists don't work? Because, see, the federal government in America wouldn't be able to bribe the cities because they'd go, fuck you. What do you got? So then they go, well, we don't have any money because we're communists. We ran out of money fucking 10 years ago. And then the printing press broke and we're too stupid to fix that. So other countries bailed on the dollar and now we're broke, just like the ruble was, and Mexico was. Every country, Venezuela now is broke. So how are you going to get a state and a city to do your bidding on a federal level, especially when you're a communist prick? Well, you can't. You don't have enough money to bribe them. So what do? Well, what everyone's done since the beginning of time. You pull out the guns and you make them fucking do it. And that's where we are. See, we're that close to it being so bad that, our leaders in Washington that have crowned themselves as kings and queens will just go, we need the states to make some more cars. Well, they won't. Well, send in the military. Oh, okay. Make some fucking cars. Just like in Russia. Go to work. And they go, we're giving you a check, which is chits, really. It's fucking funny money. It's a barter system based on Satan piss. Build some cars. And just like in Russia, you will get paid the same as a doctor and everyone else to go to work. And if you study Russia back during the real bad times, when their economy was shit and they were collapsing inside and out and all about, you talk to some of the people, he goes, one guy I knew, I talked to him, he retired from the railroad, retired in Moscow until he bailed in the 80s and got the fuck out of there. He said, well, people became really good at playing the game. I'm sick. My mother died. Didn't she die last year? Well, we thought she was, but she didn't. Come on, wake the fuck up. Jesus Christ, it's a green light. How hard is it to pay attention? These are the people that get the fucking vote. Too stupid to see what's right in front of them and just be in the moment for a second. So that was where Russia was. That was what Venezuela is. That's what America is becoming. So they won't be able to play the game like we think they're going to play it when they become communists, We think it's going to be the printing press will continue to run. China will continue to bail us out, which they won't. And everything's going to be with our normalcy bias that, well, then the federal government will just give you money. And you'll still be able to choose between Ford, Chevy, and Dodge or Ram or whatever. No, there'll be one car made by the government, and you will buy it or shut the fuck up. And then maybe they'll come up with a new game like Hunger Games. Or let's go back in time to, before, right around Christ's time, Colosseum and gladiator games. That would be kind of cool, wouldn't it? I think so. So that's where we're heading. That is exactly where we're heading in America. And we're looking at it with this normalcy bias that we think it's going to be American-run socialism, communism. This is how it's going to work. And people are like, oh, that'd be cool. No, it won't be cool. It's going to be all fucked up. So I can't lay it out good enough because I'm not that smart, But if you look at communism, there's no money. It doesn't use money. They think communism works good when you other people's money. No, there is no money. They have no product. And because they fuck over the worker so bad that there's no innovation to create new product. So it ceases to exist. So like in Russia, they had one car and then toilet paper lines and soap lines and fucking soup and eggs. And, the shopping cart was really fucked, just like in, Handmaid's Tale. You ever look at the supermarket, there's nothing in there. Because there's no innovation. There's no reason for you to create a better widget that tastes better than the other guy. Because the government's not going to let you make it. They have their car. Fuck off. So you can see that when America falls that far, which we're there. We're really there. It's just a few changes in the accounting principles and boom, it's over. And we've allowed it. And Georgia just proved it. And the November election just proved it. That it's over and we want it to be over because we can't think enough for it to not be over. So we will slide into the abyss of communism just like Russia, just like Venezuela, just like Cuba, just like everything. See, these other countries all survive because of us. China was bankrupt. China is almost still bankrupt. But because of free markets and what we used to be, China was able to sell the shit ton of trinkets and baubles to us. And we had real money. So we bought it and we made them rich. Cuba exists because of funding from Russia and they were going broke until Russia started making some money and now it kind of helps them, but even Russia's like, fuck you guys, you're communists. We're free market now. You want $1? Go get a job. So when there's no money in the world, because we're the ones that created it and came up with it, then I guess it reverts back to gold and silver and whoever's got that, but then they'll just take it from you like FDR did or whoever, fuck that, Carter, one of them douchebags. So it doesn't work. I don't know how to explain how it doesn't work. If you read some books on economy from the Mises Institute and stuff, you'll grasp how it works. You might not be able to repeat it like I can't, but the reality is we know it doesn't work. And we can't quantify it, and we can't put our finger on it, but we know it doesn't work. And that's where we're going. That's the road we are on. There's no exits. There's no turnaround points. There are, but if you make a U-turn, you'll be arrested. So even though they're there and they're available to us, we're not going to do it because we're afraid that we'll be arrested like Rittenhouse. So the options have become narrower and narrower, and the off ramps have all been closed. And the turnaround points are the four-wheel drive turnaround points. If you have a four-wheel drive, if you get caught, which they will, they'll just throw you in a gulag. This is America right now. So I watched that election until in Georgia, it was last night. So today's Wednesday, so I get to watch the other shit show in Washington now with the Electoral College bullshit, which it's not bullshit. It's the way it should work, but they fucked it all up too. They broke it. See, the fucking monkeys that are in charge broke it. They fucking broke it. We popped the hood for them and said, here's some tools. Because there's that old expression that if you give I don't know how, like 10,000 monkeys typewriters, and you give them 1,000 years to bang on those typewriters with paper in them, that eventually they will write the works of Shakespeare. I doubt that would even fucking happen, but that's the anomaly. So we opened the hood to the American, Constitution and freedom and liberty and everything the founders had, found, like some treasure. And we just let the monkeys fuck with it. And we figured, after a couple hundred years, those monkeys will figure out how it works. And then if it breaks, we can fix it. Well, the monkeys are going to break it. Yeah, but they'll know how to fix it. Well, not when they break it initially. So that's where we are. And so I get to watch the shit show today and last night and look at it and go, the fix is in. See, it's just like, like you're a professional boxer or something and you're watching this fight and you go, that guy just took a fucking fall. Well, explain it. Well, did you see how that hit was not really as hard? And they're like, no. And then he just fell down. His knees didn't buckle. His eyes didn't glaze over. He just went down. He took a fall. This is fixed. The fix is in. And most people watching that would go, I don't know what you're talking about. And you go, I'm George Foreman. I'm Cassius Clay. I'm Muhammad Ali, whatever name he went on. I'm Mike Tyson. I know that when I hit someone in the fucking face, their plan leaves them, and I can see it in their eyes, and they drop. They buckle, their arms sag, their muscles relax, they're going down. That guy just fucking went down with his arms still up. That was a fall. Well, that's where we're at. And you watch these elections, and you go, what the fuck is going on? I watched that Georgia thing and it was like so close. It's like, really? People are that fucking stupid. Let's assume there was no fraud. No dead people voted. Nothing. People by 50%, 51% were so fucking dumb. They voted for that socialist, racist, abortionist pastor, however you say that fucking word. No. I'm sorry, no. Common sense has slipped, but not that far. So the fix was in. They took a fall. The voters took a fall. That's just whatever. I don't know how to put it together, but if you look at it, we're fucked. And so I'm going to ask you again, and maybe one of my astute, smarter than I listeners can answer, why the fuck do we vote? So you all have a nice 2021 living under socialist rule. And even if Trump wins, it's still over, Johnny. It's just 4 more years of silence before they continue to pound nails in our fucking coffin. And then it's over. I kind of hope he loses so he takes his anger and creates a MAGA party. And maybe that'll extend the life of American freedom and liberty and free markets. But I doubt it. So enjoy it. Enjoy the coming apocalypse. It is upon you. I love you all. Have a great one. Adios.
We've made too many compromises already. Too many retreats. They invade our space, and we fall back.
I'm your huckleberry.
The line must be drawn here. This far, no farther.
That's just my game.